Senator Ted Cruz, how are you, sir?
I am doing terrific. How about yourself, Mark?
I'm doing, well, I'd say I'm doing very well, but I really don't think so, Ted. I see what's going on around the country here, and it's jaw-dropping. Let me ask you a few questions, if I may. First of all, you have some weird enemies. I mean, I turn on the Washington Post, and this woman who claims to be the right side or whatever, constantly trashing you and your chief of staff, a buddy of mine. And then I turn on, actually I don't, but I see all over the internet, all over at MSLSD, this putative Republican, former Houseman, another. What do you think it is about these people?
I'll tell you, Mark, I'll be much more worried when the Washington Post and the New York Times and MSNBC stop attacking me. I think, much like Shakespeare said, methinks she doth protest too much. I think their cries of protest get louder when they don't like that someone who's a conservative is actually standing up. They like their conservatives docile and house trained. And one of the great things about the great one is that you are neither.
Okay, well, thank you. It is funny, though, to watch these people. They get all worked up. Okay, a couple of things. First, I want to get into this immigration issue, but first, two rulings from the Supreme Court. I doubt you'd have time to digest all of them. Here's my question. Why won't the Supreme Court just leave we the people and the states alone to make some of these decisions? And in the DOMA case, Congress is quite capable of deciding what marriage is. It's not as if we're radicalizing the issue. The issue is whether marriage is a man and a woman or not.
Sure. Look, you're exactly right. I mean, for over 2 centuries, we have left most decisions about sensitive issues of social policy to democratically elected legislatures. In this case, the Supreme Court had before it 2 different aspects. One, a federal law, that DOMA, that was passed by overwhelming bipartisan majorities of Congress elected by the American people. And number 2, coming out of California, Proposition 8, that was passed by a majority of the voters in California. And in both instances, the democratic process produced a result protecting traditional marriage, the union of one man and one woman. And what the Supreme Court did today was effectively said that the public policy judgments of 9 unelected judges matters more than what we the people think, and that they know better. They are more enlightened than we are. And I think it continues a pattern that we've seen for decades of judges thinking that they're better situated to make difficult social policy decisions than are the American people. It's wrong, and the Constitution doesn't allow it.
It's amazing. And now we have a case in California where the people voted against same-sex marriage. They voted to put in their constitution traditional marriage. It wins. The newly elected governor and the attorney general refuse to defend it. The court says, okay, well, nobody can stand in their shoes. They have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to appeal, even though they won the vote.
Yeah, and the court is acquiescing with the lower courts setting aside the judgment of the people of California. And look, it's worth noting, California is a very blue state. And even though it is a very blue state, it is a very democratic state, a majority of the voters in California made a decision that they wanted the marriage laws in California to embody traditional marriage of one man and one woman. And essentially the Supreme Court is saying, to heck with you voters, we're smarter than you are. And by handicapping it with DOMA, they struck it down directly, and with Proposition 8, they simply handcuffed the ability of the defenders of Proposition 8 to defend it, which is going to leave the decision of the California voters thrown to the side.
It's just amazing. They won. It's like they can never lose on the left. In other words, if they don't win democratically, they don't win through the representation in Congress or so forth. They go to the courts, so they always have 3, 4, 5, 6 bites at the apple. Have you noticed?
Well, and that's been their pattern over and over again. On the issues on which they cannot prevail, they can't convince the American people, they run to the courts and say, will you just impose it on the entire country?
Okay, amnesty, we call it immigration, Senator. Where does that stand right now in the Senate?
Well, it is a complete mess, and it is likely to be voted on tomorrow, and it will almost surely pass the Senate by a significant majority. I think that is unfortunate, but thankfully the Senate is not the last stop on this train. In order to be passed into law, a bill has to be passed by the House as well, and I'm confident the House of Representatives is not going to pass this bill, this is not a good bill. This thing is a mess. It is over 1,200 pages. If it became the law, it would make the problem worse. It would expand illegal immigration. It follows the same pattern we saw in 1986. In 1986, Congress told the American people, we're going to grant amnesty to some 3 million people who are here illegally. And in exchange, we're going to secure the borders. We're going to fix the problem of the illegal immigration. Illegal immigration will go away. Well, we all know what happened, which is that the amnesty happened, and the borders never got secured. And now, 3 decades later, instead of 3 million people, we've got 11 million people who are here illegally, and a lot of human tragedies. I mean, it's a broken system that encourages illegal immigration the way we have now. And the Gang of Eight is telling the American people, we're going to give you the exact same deal. We'll give you legalization up front, and sometime in the future, we'll maybe kind of sort of secure the border. And just like in 86, the border security would never happen. And so it is a bad bill, but I can tell you that is why just over a week ago, we launched a national petition. It is at securebordersnow.com, securebordersnow.com. In a week, we've had over 100,000 people all over the country sign that petition. I would urge your listeners to go to securebordersnow.com and sign the petition to say, fix the darn problem. Stop making it worse. Secure our borders first. Don't grant legalization without fixing the problem.
Well, what concerns me, Senator, is this. There are people in the Senate, Republicans, who are giving assurances that it's different this time. The border will be secured. Am I missing something? Do we have a bloated central government and a president that chooses what laws he's going to enforce and doesn't want to enforce? Are we not now witnessing right now a president of the United States refusing to comply with existing immigration laws? When a senator says to me or a congressman says to me, this time we mean it, I say, well, are you president? Because obviously he doesn't.
Yep. You're exactly right. As you know, this president has been the most lawless president in modern times. There are a host of immigration laws right now that this president is just ignoring, refusing to enforce, whether it is in 2006, Congress passed a law requiring the federal government to build 700 miles of double-layered fencing. The federal government has built 36 miles of that. It just ignores the statute. There's also another federal statute requiring biometric exit-entry systems to be in place. DHS Janet Napolitano ignores the statute. She says it's too expensive, we're not going to do it. There's another statutory requirement for Homeland Security to measure what's called operational control of the border. Now, they used to do that. The last year they measured it was 2010. 2010, they concluded, if my memory serves me correctly, that 873 miles was operationally, there was operational control for 873 miles out of roughly 2,000 miles on the border. And they said, well, gosh, this isn't very good. Our metric is showing that over half the border is not secure. So what did DHS do? They just abandoned the metric. They said, we don't measure it anymore because we didn't like what it showed. Mm-hmm. And over and over again, they're ignoring statutory requirements, and it's a virtual certainty. In fact, it is a total certainty they will do so if the Gang of Eight bill ever passed, especially because this bill, just like Obamacare, has nearly 1,000 waivers written into it. So Janet Napolitano has the authority under the Gang of Eight bill to ignore vast portions of it.
Marco Rubio denies this. He flat out denies it. He texted me about an hour ago and said these things that I'm saying about it are not accurate. And I'm looking at these sections. I'm reading. I know how to read English, and it looks that way to me. Am I missing something?
Look, on the face of it, this bill weakens existing law on border security. It weakens the fence provision. It weakens biometric control. It weakens operational control, and it makes the very same mistake as 1986. It puts legalization first, and it promises the border security in the future. You know, as I like to analogize it, it's like the character from Popeye, Wimpy. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. I mean, the promise Congress is saying is, we'll gladly secure the border on Tuesday for legalization today. And I don't think the American people are nearly gullible enough to fall for it again.
I want to play something for you. This was a candidate who ran for re-election. The voice, originally, the first voice you're going to hear is a sheriff. The second voice you're going to hear is probably familiar to you. And this was one of the commercials that this candidate ran, and he ran scared for re-election. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Drug and human smuggling, home invasions, murder.
We're outmanned. Of all the illegals in America, more than half come through Arizona.
But we got the right plan.
Plan's perfect. You bring troops, state, county, and local law enforcement together.
And complete the dang fence.
It'll work this time. Senator, you're one of us.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Complete the dang fence. That's what the commercial was called. Isn't that what we, the people, are saying? I say, complete the damn fence, and then we'll look at the rest of it.
Well, unfortunately, Mark, you speak far too plainly to ever serve in Congress.
Yeah, tell me.
They wouldn't know what to do with you. I think they'd run screaming for the hills.
Well, you know what? Somebody said I should serve as Attorney General, and I figure I have to run from the Attorney General.
Now, I will mention to you, Mark, you know, there is a Virginia Senate seat that is up this term.
All right, let's calm down now.
Look, we can start a draft movement right here and now. That would be something else.
That'd be scary. Do you remember when you came up to me, the Values Conference, I think it was, and you came up to me and you said, Mark, I'm going to run for the Senate. Remember that?
I do.
And I said, okay, what can I do? But I figured, okay, you'll give it a shot. But look what you've done. It's absolutely a beautiful thing, Ted. And God bless you, my friend.
Well, look, I mean, we're at a crisis point. I mean, we've got to stop what's happening. If we keep going down this road, we're going to lose our country. I mean, it's... you know, there are so many millions of Americans that I think are scared, that are demoralized, that realize we're at the edge of a cliff. But at the same time, you know, America, every time we face great threats, we come together and we turn it around. And I'm convinced we can do it. I mean, as you know, in the Senate campaign in Texas, when I started running, nobody thought we had a prayer. But what happened, I mean, I was at 2% in the polls. I've often joked that the margin of error was 3%. And, you know, those were our real poll numbers. And yet, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of grassroots activists knocked on doors and made phone calls and got on Facebook and Twitter. And although we were outspent 3-1, we went from 2% in the polls to winning the primary by 14 points, winning the general by 16 points. That's what is incredible when the grassroots come together.
And what percentage of the Hispanic vote did you get?
We got over 40%.
Mm-hmm. Over
40%, and one of the most condescending and offensive tropes that is used in favor of this Gang of Eight legislation is, well, Republicans have to embrace this amnesty to attract the Hispanic vote. And you know what? I mean, it's simply not true. There's no data to support that. And it is offensive to suggest that Hispanics, I mean, I can tell you in Texas, I mean, I campaigned quite vigorously on secure the border, fix the problem, stop illegal immigration, and at the same time, welcome and celebrate legal immigration. As you know, I'm the son of an immigrant, a legal immigrant, and that's what's made our country strong. And that received the support of nearly 700,000 Hispanic voters in the state of Texas, and yet, what do they say in Washington? Give away your principles, give away the rule of law, don't secure the borders, and that's what Hispanics want, and I don't think that's right.
No, I don't think it's right either, and I'm sick of people speaking for Hispanics or Italians or Germans or African Americans or me when they don't. Ted Cruz, God bless you, my friend. We appreciate you very much.
Mark, keep speaking the truth to power, and the American people, we're standing up and we're turning things around.
So they should still call their senators and congressmen, right?
Absolutely call your senators and congressmen. Your senators are running out of time, but call your congressmen. Tell them to not support this Gang of Eight bill. Secure the borders first, and then also go, please, and sign our petition, securebordersnow.com. And I'll mention to you one of the most striking things. I know we're running out of time, but one of the most troubling aspects of the Gang of Eight bill is that it, in combination with Obamacare, puts effectively a federal tax penalty on businesses that hire American citizens or legal immigrants of $5,000 an employee. It basically sets up de facto affirmative action for hiring those who are here illegally. That makes no sense whatsoever. I gave about a 30-minute floor speech on the floor of the Senate yesterday talking about how this is going to drive up unemployment for young people, for Hispanics, for African Americans, and for legal immigrants. It's going to hurt legal immigrants. And yet it's an indefensible aspect of the current bill.
All right, Senator, we appreciate it. Keep fighting. We're behind you, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, my friend.